Hi, St. Timothy, Father Patrick here. I'm recording this on December 18th, so we're 1 week away from Christmas, but we're still celebrating the season of Advent, and Advent really is about waiting and, waiting for the Messiah, waiting for the coming of Christ, and that's, the Jewish people, the Israel, that's what they were waiting for before the birth of Jesus. They were waiting, and they were, waiting that Messiah to come to save them. And that's what it is for all of us too. We are waiting for the Messiah, waiting for the Messiah in a different way into our lives. And again, I was just talking to some of my staff members, and I'm not good at waiting. I don't really like to wait, especially when I was a little kid. Waiting for Christmas Day was torture for me. And it was so bad that I learned how to open gifts up and rewrap them so I could see what was in the gift before Christmas Day, because I couldn't wait. I couldn't stand it. I got in trouble though, because I finally got caught. And the way I got caught was one year my mom was really good about hiding where the gifts were. And I looked and I looked and I looked. And finally one day I realized that she had them in the trunk of her car. And so one night when everybody had gone to bed, I got her keys and I snuck out and I opened up the trunk and I looked at all the gifts, closed the trunk, and went back to bed. And the next morning, my mother said, "You looked at the gifts." And I'm like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Yes, you did." And I'm like, "No, I didn't." She goes, "Yes, you did." And I'm like, "How do you know?" And she's like, "Well, this morning when I got in my car, I heard this cat screaming from my trunk. So when you opened the trunk last night, the cat jumped in and you closed the door on the trunk." So the cat was stuck in the trunk all night long and was not very happy in the morning. So patience, waiting, not really always good at it, but we really are to have patience to be able to wait on the Lord and let the Lord work in our lives. And I think too many times we try to push, we try to force things to happen. And I think what our Lord really wants to say to us is just like, trust in me, be patient, wait, and I will come when I'm supposed to come. And I'm really reminded about that when I was in my late 20s trying to find myself back into the church. I had prayed one day, and I'm actually for a good while, that I would have a relationship with God and that God would make this profound impact on my life. And it's a good prayer, right? And you would think that would be a prayer that God would answer immediately. But God didn't answer that prayer immediately. I prayed every day, like, "Lord, I want a relationship with you. I want, something. Please let me know that you're present." And for almost a year, I felt nothing. And that was kind of the grace that was given to me, because my faith was not very strong. And God gave me that grace to kind of persevere, even though I wasn't feeling anything. So after about a year, I had this experience on a retreat that kind of changed everything. And I had this newfound relationship with God, this really new experience of God that changed my life forever. And it was a great experience. And as I got away from that experience, I was wondering, like, God, like, why did you wait so long to answer that prayer? Why did I have to wait? And what I didn't really realize when it was going on, but I did realize it after I was some time away from it, was that God had answered that prayer immediately for me. There was nobody in my life that would have supported me going back to the church, being, active in my faith. My friends, the ones I was hanging out with, they would have made fun of me. They would have mocked me, and probably I would have been discouraged. What I didn't know and what I didn't realize is that in that year, God was moving people out of my life and bringing new people into my life. And so when that conversion experience happened, I was surrounded with this whole group of people who encouraged and supported my desire to return to my faith, return to God, return to the church. And so looking back, I can understand why it took God some time, why it was necessary that I needed to wait. So as we go through these last 7 days and live out these last 7 days of our Advent season before we come to Christmas, let us remember the importance of sometimes waiting and letting God do the work that God needs to do, and let him come into our lives when he needs to come in, when he knows that it'll be have the greatest effect and the most power in our lives. For a continued blessed Advent to all of you. Have a great week, and I love you, and almost Merry Christmas.